Hello, magical ones. Welcome to the podcast. I'm the Fairy Witch, and today we are going to make a candle. This is something I love to do, and I love candles. I love to collect them. And when I have money for the supplies, then I can actually make my own, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to show you how I make a simple little gratitude candle. And candle magic is very important. That's one of the forms of magic I use the most, and I mean practically almost every day I do candle magic, even if it's just to light the gratitude candle at night. You offer up the flame to the universe as a little thank you for getting you through another day, or maybe something good happened during the day, so I light the candle whenever something might happen that's good. It's like a little thank you, just sending it up because it helps you get through the day, and it shows gratitude that you appreciate what nature and the universe gave to you, and mainly that I got through another day. So I often do that one, but I do use candles in almost every other spell that I do. So I always need a candle. I always want one, and I like to have specific ones for specific reasons for specific spells. So it's important that I have candles on hand, different sizes and colors and shapes and different scents, different looks. I like to collect them and I like to make them, but I use them. They don't just sit on the shelf. So today we are going to just make a little jar candle, and it's going to be my new gratitude candle because the one I'm using is almost completely burned out. So we're going to use few ingredients, and I'm going to walk you through how I do it. So to join me, feel free to write something down if you care to, and you're welcome to use this method if you want to make your own. So, a few things we need. I use an old pot. This is just an old cooking pot, and this is the pot that I designate for candle making, so that way I never use it with my food ever again. You want to be safe, food safe. I also need some wax. Usually I use soy wax because it is more cost effective for me, but I happen to have some beeswax, and so I'm going to use some of that today. So you got those two things. I also need a couple other things. Let me grab it here. So I need a candle wick, which is already pre-made. You can make your own, and I have tried. It didn't work out too well for me. I guess I need to keep practicing it. And so I store-bought these. And then I have just a little candle jar that had a candle in it from the dollar store. I burned it out, used it up, so I just scrubbed out the jar, and I'm going to reuse it. So I got those two things. And I'm also going to put a little bit of tea leaves in this candle. Sometimes, or usually, I will put coloring, and I will put like a different scent. I do have little jars and colors from a candle supply making website, but today I'm just going to do white. At least I'm probably going to do white. As I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking, do I want a color? I kind of do. Let me think about that. But I'm going to use some tea leaves as decoration inside and on the candle. So I've got that. And I need a spoon. I've got a cooking spoon. Let me grab that. Okay. So I've got a big cooking spoon. And again, this is designated just for candle making, so that way I never use it for food. Gotta be safe. Gotta keep things, where you can put all your candle making supplies and everything is right where you need it. Okay, so first things first. I need to get these wax pellets. I need to put the candle wick in the jar, and I need to melt that, but I need a little bit of wax to do that with. So what I'm going to do is take the pot. I'm going to lower this a little bit so you can see. And I'm going to get some wax. And it's better to put in a little bit at a time. Don't overdo the wax and because if you melt too much and you're not going to make a whole bunch of candles, that wax is going to have to sit in here. And you can reuse it, but you're going to keep it in this pot until you're ready to use it again. So if that's what you want to do, fine. For me, I put it away in a cabinet, so I don't want to leave the wax in the pot. So I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. If I need more, because it didn't fill the jar, I can always add to what I put in here. So I'll show you. We'll do it together. So let me get this out of the way. Okay, so I put in just a little bit of these wax pellets. Whoops. I'm going to start melting them. And then I'm going to dip this into the wax and then stick it into the candle jar. And you can put it on low or medium heat. The beeswax usually melts a little bit faster than the paraffin and the soy wax. Don't know why, maybe it's just because of what it's made of. But it does tend to burn or melt really quickly, so you gotta watch it. And you just use the spoon and mix it around. And whenever you're melting candle wax, you don't want it to ever scorch or burn. So you got to watch it. But if you ever have to walk away or if it looks like it's steaming up too much, just turn the heat off. You can always turn it back on and remelt it. Just do it slowly. Okay. So as I'm saying this, it's already melted. So I'm going to take my little jar. Got my pot of wax. Carefully, because it's hot. You are dealing with hot stuff, so always be careful. And I'm going to dip this in to the wet wax, and I'm sticking it in here like so. Okay, it's in, but it's not. I need this. I'm going to use an ice pick because that's all I've got handy. And I'm just going to press down on the little silver. Oh, moved. I'm trying to get it into the center of the jar as best I can. Oops. Oh, darn it. I messed up. Okay, I gotta do it again. So I'm going to re-dip. Take the ice pick and hold it down in the center of the jar as best I can. Oh, quit moving. There we go. Mistakes happen. Nobody's perfect. Okay, that's about as close to the center as I can get. And I'm going to let it harden. Now another key tip that I do too is that because I don't have a lot of time, I don't have a lot of patience sometimes to do these things, is if you really need to get everything, all the wax and everything to solidify quicker, stick it in the freezer. Just put everything in the freezer when, as it's ready to go. Put it in the freezer. It'll freeze up the wax quicker, and then you can proceed to the next step. So I often do that. You just got to remember not to leave it in the freezer, because especially the jars. If you leave the jars in the freezer and leave it in there all day, it might actually crack the jar. So yeah, you got to be safe. You got to be careful. And I got to play with the little wick just to make sure it stands up straight as well as it can. Sometimes these candle wicks don't want to stand up straight. You put them in and they just keep leaning. Especially as I fill the jar, the wick is going to start to get hot, and it's going to go So what you can do is use knives You can put your kitchen knives on either side, and it keeps the wick up. There is special tools you can buy, and I may have one. And you set it, it sits on top of the jars, and it has little holes, and you can decide which hole you want to put the wick in, and it'll rest over the top of the jar, and it'll hold the wick so that it'll solidify. But generally, like I say, I just put knives or sticks, like chopsticks, or maybe wooden dowels, whatever you got, or straws, something that can go on either side of the wick and keep it standing up. That works too. And you just stick it in the freezer, and it hardens up, well, within about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. It's going to solidify enough that you don't need the knives and straws or whatever you're using to prop it up. You can take those off. So it does it pretty quickly. Now, if you don't want to put it in the freezer, you want to leave it out on the counter, you are going to need those straws or sticks or whatever, and you're going to have to keep it there until the wax hardens on its own to room temperature, and then you can remove them or use that special tool I mentioned. Okay, so let's see here. Are you stuck in there good now? Seems to be. Seems to be. So, you can see it in the bottom. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I know this is not enough wax in here, so I'm going to add more. A little more wax. Okay. And then I do want to put some tea leaves in the candle, not just on the top as decoration. So what I'm going to do is open up this tea box. Come on. Oh, they are bags. Okay, I thought they were open. Cool. Alright, well that works. That helps preserve this. And this is called Celestial Bengal Spice. And, ooh. Let me show you the box. So, did I show you the right side? Hope I showed you the right side. Okay, so it smells, ooh, it's strong. I haven't actually used it yet to drink. I'm going to, but I haven't yet. It's still so hot. We're still in the middle of a major heat wave. So, yeah, but it smells like maybe cinnamon and clove and something else good that I cannot identify. God, I don't know what it is, but it smells good. It is good. Yum. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this little tea bag open. And I'm just going to pour a little bit of it into the wax. This will actually add some scent to it too, so I don't have to add scent. And if I want to do so, I'm thinking maybe I want to do color, but then again, this might actually change the color. Since I've never actually used tea in a candle before, this is the first time for me. Maybe I should just wait and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to do at least half this little tea bag. Okay, so now I'm going to put it onto the stove again. Because it does have a fragrance, a scent of its own, I actually might not have to add a scent, although I wasn't going to this time anyway. And it's brown, and it's ground up enough that it actually might change the color of the candle. Because candle wax, if you don't add a color to it, it's going to turn white. So, it might change the color. So let's see what happens. Sorry, my refrigerator or freezer's talking to us. I'm still melting it. I can see all the tea leaves. They're kind of like a brown congregation down the bottom of the pot, so I gotta keep stirring it. Okay, it's all melted. I'm gonna turn the heat off. Okay, now this could get warm, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera down because I don't want to have to pick up the jar. Let me back it up just a little so you can see. Okay, okay, now let's see what happens here. Oops, yeah, see, the wick is already collapsing. So I need to hold it. I need to hold it up. Come on, stay up. It doesn't want to behave. Okay, and it actually did change the color of the candle. So it looks like a tea. It looks like a golden brown tea. Oh, be quiet. Put your ear. Okay, now it's almost full. So while there's still some tea in here, I'm going to add just a little more wax. Like I say, it's better to add rather than over melt. Okay. Up. I gotta keep an eye on the little wick because it keeps moving, so I'm using my little ice pick here. It's coming along, we're getting there. We're getting there. And as I stirred, I said a little something, a little dedication to the wax. And I said that as I make this candle, let it be filled with my gratitude. And every time I burn it and offer up the flame to the universe, it'll know how sincere my gratitude is. Okay. Okay. All right. So it is full. Let me show you. It is now a full candle. Now it's very hot. Being that this is a glass container, it's like a conduit or something for the heat. So I can't pick it up right now and put it into the freezer because I will burn my hands unless I want to use, well, Matthew calls them hot pads. He calls them hot pads. I call them pot holders. And I'm going to add a little more of the tea since I still have some. And I'm just going to sprinkle it on the top. There we go. That'll add more fragrance too. Okay. Okay, so yeah. So this is my little gratitude candle. Now, like I said, I need to put it in the freezer so it'll cool off and harden quicker. But I'm gonna have to put it in there carefully with the pot holders. But before I do that, I'm going to continue the dedication. I want to add the intention to the candle. So I'm afraid to touch it because it's going to be hot. Yes, I'm hot. Okay, but just barely touch. And I'm going to add my intention to it. So clear my mind. I dedicate this candle to the intention of showing gratitude for my life, for my day, for my family, for the blessings and the good luck that I've been given. This candle now will offer with its flame a show of my gratitude to the universe every time I burn it. You are now dedicated and intended for this purpose. Okay, so that's all I need to do right now, except put it into the freezer and let it harden. So we are going to do that in just a minute. Okay, so I put you on pause for about 10-15 minutes, and the candle is still warm, still hot to the touch a bit, but it's starting to solidify because now it's turning white again. But it's still, you can see the tea leaves in the top, so it does show the tea leaves. And I had to move the little wick again because it during when it was in the freezer kind of went, oh, so I had to kind of twist it back up. So it's a little more in the center again. So yeah, so we got our little gratitude tea candle. Let me turn down the camera here. There we go. So yeah, so now I have a new candle, and they're gonna give me just 1 second. Okay, so little Misty, my fairy here, has joined us, and so I just she's sitting with the little candle at the moment. So yeah, so we have now created our little gratitude candle. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope that you find that that's going to be something that'll work for you, and you can start making your own candles at this point. So again, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode with me, the Fairy Witch, and we hope to see you in the next one. So until then, have a fairy day. Enjoy your candles. Be safe with your candles, not only when you're making them, but also when you're burning them. Never leave them alone. You never, careful around children and pets, and always be mindful of, where they are, whether they're lit or not. Be careful, be safe, don't hurt yourself or anyone else, don't burn your house down, and enjoy your candle magic. And we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks so much. Bye.